Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. I'm delighted to be joined by Jamie Conlan, my favourite Conlan. Trading on thin ice with that one. Jamie, I appreciate you giving us some of your time on the eve of what is a huge night for your family, your brother Michael. It's the biggest fight of his career, an opportunity to win a world title in his city of Belfast. First off, before we talk about the fight and break that down, how do you feel? We talked about it off camera a little bit, but you're obviously his brother. You're very much invested in that fight. You're also running a promotional company and the show, etc. How do you feel day before?
You're nervous, first and foremost, as the brother, yes, but also for the promotion of the show, make sure everything runs smoothly. But yeah, excited, nervous, anxious. Just, we have massive expectations here on tomorrow night, really, both as a show, but also mainly for Michael. A fight of this magnitude in Belfast is amazing. I really truly believe it will be a fantastic fight. I think we're in for a special night.
I spoke to Michael on Tuesday and we spoke about your relationship with him and how, as the older brother, you're always sort of watching over him, and even you talk about some of your best memories in boxing, and Michael was saying sometimes I think he forgets that he was actually a really good fighter, and he talks about my achievements and things like that, so we know how I know how much this would mean to him and to the family and to everybody. How proud are you of him from where he's come, from all the accomplishments in the amateurs to where he is today? He's on the cusp of doing something, history-making type stuff tomorrow night. How proud are you?
Oh, very, very. Regardless of what happens tomorrow night, I'm always proud of him. I want tomorrow night to succeed, want tomorrow night to go special and go perfect for him. Mainly just for him, because of what he's put into it, what he's put into his life, what throughout the career that he's came to. I think this is the perfect crowning moment, and everything is set up perfectly for a very, very special and memorable night and a historic night for Irish boxing.
When you look at Luis Alberto Lopez, he's been in the Lions Den environment before the fight before. Do you think now, I spoke to Adam Booth and I asked him about this, he says crowd won't play a factor for him. He said because he's had that experience. I'll ask you, obviously, two different crowds, but two very vocal crowds. So they will be on top of him, when he comes in. They will roar, and probably something like he hasn't heard before. Do you think that will play a factor for him, or do you think because of his last fight, that'll be sort of null and void?
No, I don't think it will. I don't think it will play too much of a factor. In some regards. In terms of it won't fear him, he won't shy away from it, he won't hide away from it. However, there could be factors that could play in. Michael's going to be hitting him, the crowd's going to be going crazy. Will that play a factor in terms of how he approaches things? Does he feel he needs a push more, pushing too early, different things like that? The crowd always in one essence will have a factor. It just depends on what it does to him. I don't think it factors in terms of how he's going to approach the fight. It could factor in the fight with the shots landing, how he thinks he's going on the scorecards, things kind of moving in directions that he's probably not happy with, and that can sway momentum also. So Michael will buzz off it. He won't kind of falter under the pressure, falter under the crowd. I don't think Lopez will be in awe or afraid of what he's coming into, because, as you said, he's been the leads. He fought Isaac Lowe in front of Tyson Fury, stuff like that. So, yeah, it'll be special. Making a monumental occasion, it could potentially have a deciding factor within his approach during rounds, but not Harry fights.
In terms of Michael's mentality, he's mentioned it a few times in a few interviews. If you look at the Leigh Wood, the fight build-up, he used a lot of energy in the build-up. He was very vocal towards Leigh, and that's part of Michael's game. He's very, like yourself, you two played, I thought, a blinder in them press conferences, and it built the fight. But he also said, when I was walking to the ring, I was very sort of emotive. I was getting involved, saying, fuck you, and blah, blah. But if you noticed in the last two fights, it's been very much tunnel visioned, as if the crowd wasn't there. Gets in the ring, does his job, not been sort of overawed by anything. How impressed have you been with his mindset and how he's approached this week? He's not got involved with anything. It's been complete respect because he knows there's a job to do.
Yeah, in this one I thought Lopez would have tried to play a bit more games. I listened to Josh Warrington speak to yourself as well, and he expected something from Lopez to try and, goad something, grab something out of Michael, but he hasn't. He hasn't been able to react. He hasn't been able to see a chink in the armour. And again, Lopez will probably look at that in a different way, say, "Oh, Michael's afraid of me," or whatever like that. But definitely not. He's very, very cold, very steely in his approach. He's not got caught up emotionally, like you said about Leigh Wood. There was a lot of mistakes. We focused a lot on the oppositions instead of focusing on inward, and that's kind of what he's learned from that year. And as you said, Mariaga, Gurphy, there was no hostility. He was very humble to them and very willing to invite them in and warm welcome him, and then straight into business, because he truly believes what he's going to do and believes in himself right now.
It's almost like a spiteful welcome, and it's very nice to meet you. Yeah. I'm welcoming you into my city, and then as soon as that bell goes, we've seen a very vicious Michael Conlan, I would say. If you look at the last 4 fights, in terms of obviously the Leigh Wood fight, that he folded him in half in that round, and then nearly had him out of there. The knockdowns, obviously against you, Mariagas, and the Gurphy finish, it was ruthless, controlled, but it was ruthless. You've seen that side of Michael's game improve the sort of past 4, 5, 6 fights. Is he not developing that power? Because obviously he's 31 and I don't think you can develop it anymore, but technically he's really putting something in his punches. How impressed are you with him and him doing that?
I think he just finally found the style. Start of his career, he was an out and out boxer as an amateur, really out and out boxer. Was never a real come forward puncher, didn't put much pressure on. He was a boxer, counter puncher, box puncher, and then started his career in LA, Southern California with Manny Robles, and they wanted him to fight more Mexican, wanted to plant his feet, wanted to come forward, didn't want him to switch, didn't want him to be himself.
A bit like you.
Yeah. And then from that he went to Adam Booth, and Adam kind of was trying to figure out a style that worked, tried that Groves, Hay kind of snappy style, and I think they've kind of figured out. Just it all clicked together. It took a few years, but it clicked together on what exactly worked, and Michael found Michael.
How does he win the fight Saturday night? How does it play out? A lot of people the opinion I respect in boxing, Michael can win this comfortably on points. A lot of people, close people in the camp, Kurt Walker says he thinks you could get him to the body later on. He says he's punching really well and he's going to the body well. You as his brother and the guy who knows him best, how does he win the fight? What's your gut telling you?
I think he has to deal with an early storm. I think Lopez is going to jump early, like he did with Josh, like he did with Isaac Lowe. And he has to be ready for that. Feet have to be smart. He has to not throw silly shots to try to get shots off early. I think he has to be smart with his feet, smart with his distance. Once he establishes distance, I think he can really start to garner up a big lead and really start to pick him apart and really start to find his range, especially with the body shots, because I seen with the Warrington fight he was slowing him with body shots later on. He's dangerous, no doubt about it, right to the very end, and he'll come jumping in right to the very end, but I think the early part of the fight is key. The early part of the fight could determine how the fight will go. Will it be close? Will it be a big wide distance by Michael? I think it's really up to Michael how he decides how to fight this fight. But I do see a masterclass. I see what they were doing in sparring, and everyone was jumping on him, especially for the first fresh sparring partners in and out, just relentless. So he's ready for it. He's ticked all the boxes. He knows what's in front of him, and it's just about adapting and doing it on the night.
Got to ask you also, obviously Leigh was fighting on the same night today. There's a bit of controversy with the weight. I'm assuming you've seen it with Mauricio Lara. He's obviously not made championship weight. Ben Davison's had a lot to say about that, saying, look, it looks like he was never going to make it to begin with, etc. When he weighed in, 4 pounds over. What's your opinion on that? It's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to know because I'm not involved to really give a true opinion on it, but from the outside looking in, it looks like he failed his 3-day weight check. They weren't allowed him to make 120 or anything under 128.6, I read. Then that becomes a decision between Leigh's camp. What do we do? Lara then went, okay, if I can't fight for the title, I'm going to go right below super featherweight, 129.8. So technically, he's done everything that he said. No, he is allowed to do if you're allowed to fight go. It's a tough situation, really hard place to be in. I spoke with Joe Gallagher earlier tonight and saying like, what would you have done? And spoke with Adam and kind of we talked at lunch today and what would you have done in that situation as a coach and as a manager? Like your fighter is on the cusp of fighting in a fight that like I still think Leigh can win. And if you really look at it from the outset, you go on, is this guy struggle to make a weight? The body shot's going to play a fact. You know, is it going to be even more in his favour? Or is the risk too big against someone as big a puncher? So it's a real hard decision to make. And Ben's probably right. I seen it's going ahead, so he was trying to throw, like that we're not going to fight, but it's a hard one. And again, the fighter's always going to want to fight the fight. Leigh truly believes in himself and probably sees that this guy struggled to make the weight. It looked like Leigh really struggled also, but this guy struggled to make a weight, and I had him in the first fight, and all I have to do is keep to what that is. So it's a tough one.
Spence-Crawford, a day ago I was doing an interview talking about it because apparently it had been agreed, and then as I finished the interview the poster came out. It's on. What's your opinion on that fight? Terence Crawford, pound for pound one of the best, just like Errol Spence, welterweight division, cracking fight. Who wins?
I've seen him up close and personal a lot, Crawford, so I really rate him, really rate Crawford as a fighter.
Do you think he's possibly the best finisher in boxing in terms of, when he's going for the kill, it's very precise, accurate punching, like he doesn't fluster his work. I think what do you think? Do you think he is?
Yeah, potentially, yeah. Him or Gervonta Davis, they both are fantastic finishers. Crawford, stylistically, I just really like him. Harry can flow from orthodox to southpaw. Harry kind of, as you said, finishes, but also Harry, he sets people up, not just the finish, to set them up over the different rounds and breaking it down. And his judgment at distance and his ability to figure you out is fantastic. Spence is a great fighter. It's a fight that we've been banned for. When I had an interview yesterday, I was still thinking it's never going to happen. I think I even said it's not going to happen, and next thing it comes out, it's happened. So I look like a dickhead. So yeah, I'm glad it's happened. Would have preferred to happen last year, but we get what we want.
Happy days. I think boxing this year, it looks like we're going to see all the big fights we want. Looking at what we've seen already with Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. About an hour or two ago, Tyson Fury put a status up saying this week or last week there was a draft contract sent to Anthony Joshua about doing a fight in September at Wembley. Can I get your opinion on that? I know they've been talking a lot, and he's been bouncing through a couple of countries. I saw him in Tenerife, mad experience at Syon Park. He's then obviously bounced over to Australia. It's been linked with Dempsey McKean and Jay Oppenheimer, but he's put a status out saying, look, draft contract sent. Do you think we finally get to see Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury? It puts a shutdown to anything that's potentially happening in December when we're talking about undisputed with Usyk, but Usyk's got Daniel Dubois to deal with now in Poland. So Fury, Joshua, what's your take on it?
I hope it happens. Listen, we're speaking about all these great fights, and hopefully all happening this year, and I think that needs to happen. I think there only is one winner in Fury. I think he's head and shoulders above AJ, but it's what a fight. It's a massive fight for world boxing, British boxing. It's just a fight that needs to happen. It can't go any longer. I don't want to see them all go to Saudi. You would like to see all this kind of thing. I know it's easier said than done because of the money situation. Everyone wants paid, and that's where the money's at. So you got to go where the money is. But that needs to happen in the UK.
Well, that sort of has given me another question to ask you then. So say obviously Michael's a big name, Saudi offer triple the money, but there's a chance to fight in Belfast. It'd be difficult to turn down, wouldn't it, if the money's there?
Exactly, that's why we're in the game. It's called prize fighting, so you really have to weigh them all up. But a fight like that,
it's a lot anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot in it. If it was two Irishmen, then you would do it here in Ireland, but two British men, you do it in Britain. You don't go into Saudi and do it, especially the commercial value of both guys. There is money there that people can find. There is.
Well, let's hope for everyone's sake that we get to see that fight. Look, Jamie, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. Have you got a final message to the fans? The sold-out arena, which is going to be absolutely jumping for Michael versus Alberto this weekend. Have you got a message for the fans?
No, I think you're in for a special night. May 27th, Ireland will have a new world champion.
Appreciate your time, bud.